môre my skat. Ek kom nou hier so man. Ja, ek ras ook van die stasie af. Ek ras van die stasie af. Ek het train is 10 toe uit by my man. Ek kom in so 5 past 9, 10 past 9 in die Kaap. Maar last week when I came with the train and today
Recording in progress. Recording stopped.
Honorable members, good morning. We are sending a reminder to the members. I'm just sending a message now to the chief whips. Our members will log in. Ma'am, I suggest we start. They are logging in. And yes. We basically start and we'll obviously take decisions once we know.
Good morning, honorable members.
Recording in progress.
Yes, good morning, Mama Speaker. Good morning, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members.
I-connectivity yenza clear yakho mani bhapha. Yabhabha clear yakho i-connectivity.
Akhona amaxesha ibhabha clear konje wrong. Don't worry. Mhlawumbi sizawubona naleyo yakho ibhabha.
Soze ndivele ndine-load shedding.
Okay, how are you?
Good, how are you, Mama?
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable members, we now start with our meeting. I note the last count was we had about 5 members of the ANC and 1 member of the DA. The rest is staff of parliament. I continue, otherwise I'll be guided by you, colleagues. Okay, colleagues have copies of the agenda. Are there any apologies?
Madam Speaker, we have received apologies. Honorable Mulder, Honorable Singh, Honorable Kwahube, Honorable Magwanishe, and Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Honorable members, we then proceed.
Speaker,
Yes.
if I may, I would also like
Totally.
to tender the apology of Honourable Horn. They have a Justice Committee meeting this morning. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable.
Werner Horn.
Okay. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I'm
Yes.
just raising on a point of concern that the notice for Rules Committee was issued a long time ago. These apologies are rather too many. Well, I think members should have courtesy to inform the office of the Speaker on time so that you weigh whether we should continue or not. It is just not acceptable that apologies are brought today for the meeting that was long known. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip. Honorable members, we then proceed, having noted what the Chief Whip has just said. I'm also very unhappy about this because basically there are two parties which are attending this meeting out of so many parties which are part of who are members of the Rules Committee. We then proceed, honorable members, if that is agreed, and consider the agenda before us. Honorable members, would anyone want to move for the adoption of the agenda, or are there any matters you'd like included or removed from the agenda?
Madam Speaker, I see the hand of Honorable Papo.
Honorable, oh sorry, Honorable Papo, where is your hand? Okay, Honorable Papo, thank you. You may have the floor.
I wanted to indicate that I will log off at 11:15 because I'm traveling, but I'll be in the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Papo. Actually, you are reminding me, I think all of us need to have a cut-off time. Maybe we should agree that this meeting should take an hour because there are those of us who are traveling. I am in Joburg, but my flight is slightly early and I'm off to Durban. So if honorable members could just bear in mind so that we try to move with speed in everything which we discuss. Thank you.
I think as you said, I agree with you. Remember, some of the not all parties are in the committee, but myself and Dr. Goranov, we have a particular status in the committee. There are members of the committee who are full members of the committee, as you are saying, who should have actually apologized earlier. But I feel it's important to attend the Rules Committee meeting because the amendment to the rules which were made allowing us to be part of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Honorable Hope. I do fully agree with you. Honorable members, we proceed then. I haven't seen a hand. Honorable Hope, I'm assuming that you would like to move for adoption as well.
I move for adoption, Honorable Speaker. My name is Pemi Machodina.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip. Any seconders? None. Okay. I will do that from the chair. I move for the I second if it's ever done.
No, it can be done, Speaker. I'm sorry, I was struggling with my.
Please move then. Thank you very much, Honorable Boroto. Shall we then proceed to deal with matters arising out of the minutes of our previous meeting?
Speaker, we will display the minutes first on the screen if members have any corrections, and then I'll take matters arising.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Castle. I will switch off my video, honorable members. 10 o'clock, my look, there's load shedding in my area. It is just gone off now. Thank you. Aibo, mute, please. Mute, please. Okay, are there any matters, honorable members, you'd like to raise which are arising out of the minutes?
Dr. Koronov to please mute.
There's a hand by Honorable Boroto, ma'am.
Honorable Boroto.
Thank you, Speaker, and good morning. I'm just checking under the item Minister in the Presidency for Electricity, because the recommendation was that the Rules Committee would deliberate on the matter of whether we should have a portfolio committee established. Have we been able to do that? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mamroto.
I will deal with that, ma'am, when we get to matters arising.
Thank you very much. Would anyone want to move for the adoption of the minutes?
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Frolik.
Madam Speaker, I move for the adoption of the minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frolik. Any seconders? Honorable Boroto.
Speaker, I second. Is just that my with load shedding network is connecting on and off, but I do second. Pemi Machodina.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip. We then proceed. Lower your hand, Honorable Frolik. Then we deal with these matters arising. And Mr. Castle, will you please take us through?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will do so, ma'am. We will start with the first item which was dealt with, which was the issues emanating from the state capture report. The committee dealt with the issues, and we continue to implement those recommendations of the state capture that Parliament is supposed to implement. And there's a report of the Rules Committee on the order paper that deals with all the issues that are dealt with by the Rules Committee. That report will obviously be debated by the House. Then, ma'am, on page 2, there was a mention of matters before the Powers and Privileges Committee. I do wish to indicate to this committee that there are 5 matters that are currently before the Powers and Privileges Committee. The matter that concerned Honorable Paulson. There was also a matter coming out of the sitting of the 9th and 10th of June 2022. A matter relating to the sitting of 30th of August 2022. And a matter relating to this SONA of 2023, and also the issue of Honorable Zwane, who was not available for the implementation of a resolution of the House. On 2 occasions, has since been referred to the Powers and Privileges Committee. Now, there's been a concern about the amount of time it takes to process matters before that committee. I've had engagement with both the chair of the committee and also the administration responsible for supporting that committee. there is a commitment from the chair that the committee is planning to finalize the matters before it by end of this year. There was a time, Madam Speaker and honorable members, where there was no chairperson of that committee, I think for about a year, after the Honorable Mapulane went to cabinet or to the executive. So the committee is really putting everything in place to ensure that these matters are attended to. I thought I should just give that report so that this committee has an idea of what is going on before that committee. And then the next part relates to a committee on monitoring, planning and monitoring. That committee was established and it has since met. The other one is the ministry in the presidency, Minister of Electricity. This committee, the Rules Committee, deemed, the view of the committee was that there was no need to establish a committee at this point in time. So there's no committee established on electricity. But the questions cluster was restructured to accommodate the electricity ministry for questions. Then the other issues, ma'am, related to the report of the subcommittee on the review of the rules. This committee dealt with those issues and they form part of the report of the rule committee, which was published in the ATC, which currently is under further business on the order paper. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I also want to indicate that to the extent that we don't yet have a quorum, the issues may be noted. And when we get to the quorum, I will advise. And if we don't have a quorum until the end of the meeting, obviously the next meeting will adopt the issues that require adoption. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Kaso. Honorable members, those are the issues. Are there any comments? Are there any hands? Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let's thank Mr. Kaso on identification of matters arising. On state capture report on the implementation by Parliament, I'm happy that we've been saying that Parliament is working in its own way on processing matters, and when we're attacked by public that we have filed all the findings, which is not true. So I hope that the programming committee and will assist in terms of getting a date of that report to be tabled in the House, so that the nation must know that we are doing work in terms of implementation of the state capture report. The second one is that on the matters that are before powers and privileges, I think, Honorable Speaker, we must call order to this committee. We have allowed this committee and others like ethics to meet even on Fridays. We just need a political will from those who are participating in this committee. It cannot be an excuse that since the former chair left, therefore it took long. It did not take that long. We recommended names quite some time, so it cannot be an excuse really. After a year, it cannot be an excuse. We just need a political will for people to do their work. On the third one, on the Minister of Electricity, whilst I accept that we cannot establish a new committee, but I think these rules must locate the oversight of that ministry in one of the existing committees. And for that matter, I was going to say it's either in minerals and minerals resources or in public enterprise. I'm just not sure where, but between the two, if there's somewhere where this ministry must be accountable for oversight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip. Honorable Papo, followed by Honorable Dr. Lauret.
I agree with the proposals of the Chief Whip, but I think the ESCOM reports to public enterprise, doesn't report to any other committee unless there's a joint meeting So I would recommend that the first line will be public enterprises, and if it is a cluster, then it can go there. Mineral, public enterprises, and probably SCOPA, but that is the committee.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Dr. Lowe.
Thank you, Speaker. I also sorry, yes, I was just disconnected for a bit. Speaker, I just want to express myself on the issue of the Powers and Privileges Committee, and I do support what the Chief Whip also says, that, Speaker, this is really unacceptable because this is a statutory situation in that we have an act, and if members are deemed to be in contravention of the act, we should be acting more swiftly. We cannot have matters standing over for more than a year. So I really urge that pressure be put on the chairperson to convene the meeting at least, so that the members know what the program is and which matters are in front of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lockfiat. Honorable members, if there are no further comments, I also agree, honorable members, there are serious matters which have been referred to the Powers and Privileges Committee. And it is almost we are now at 10, 11 months. Some of these issues have not been attended to. And I have requested Mr. Kaso to inform the committee that there are issues which must be finalized before the end of this year. We cannot come back next year to Parliament without the finalization of some of those issues. So I'm hoping that, I see Mr. Kaso, you have a hand. I'm hoping that you will give us a response to what I have raised. Thank you. Over to you.
Certainly, Madam Speaker, I have discussed that matter and Speaker's concern with the chair of the committee. I've also made a commitment from my side to provide the chair with all the support that that committee needs, if there's need for additional support. And the chair has committed that will be done. In other words, the matters will be prioritized and finalized. I must say, Madam Speaker, that for at least for the 3 matters that happened last year, evidence leaders have been secured. We've had briefings with them. We've gone through the evidence, and meetings have been scheduled to deal with those issues. So the directive of the Speaker has been conveyed to the committee. Madam Speaker, on the issue of electricity, we would obviously need a clear directive on that. But the information I wish to contribute is that currently that ministry is under Cluster 4, which includes mineral resources and energy, in terms of our questions structure. And public enterprises is in Cluster 5. Of course, both are economics clusters. So I thought I should contribute that piece of information, but we'll need a clear directive whether the committee is deciding now that this electricity must be under one of those portfolios, or whether it wishes to refer to subcommittee. I don't know, but we will need some clear resolution by this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaso. What I recall that in one of the discussions we've had, we did say that when it comes to questions to the Minister of Electricity, that will fall under the economic cluster. However, we did not agree on exactly which one of the departments within the economic cluster would we then allocate the Minister of Electricity. So I'm also assuming that because we do have a department dealing with issues of energy, that perhaps that's where we would want to locate it, so that when the committee deals with issues of electricity, they may as well be dealing with issues of energy. So I don't know, but that would be my suggestion, honorable members. Honorable Papo.
Because I think the issue is ESCOM reports to public enterprises. It does not report to mineral and energy. There is this confusion even in the MA about this. That's why I'm proposing that as an extra responsibility, the minister works with public enterprises. Otherwise, we are going to dislocate it because it's only electricity, and ESCOM reports to public enterprise. So I don't think it should go to a subcommittee or any other thing. The public enterprises must deal, because there are committees which deal with 2-3 ministers. It's not like the first time where a committee will be dealing with more than one. They deal with Minister Godan, and then Minister Ramokgopa also reports or if there are issues there. And then the cluster, as you say, will be the economic cluster question. Otherwise, locating it in mineral and energy is not. And Minister Mantashe has been insisting that ESCOM does not report to him.
Thank you very much, Honorable Papo. Honorable Chief Whip, followed by Honorable Frolic.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. As I said earlier on, that one of the two, but I think it makes perfect sense that it must be part of public enterprises, so as to bring in synergy, because this is about electricity, and indeed it also impacts on ESCOM. So I'll second that let's take it to public enterprise, and therefore it means the mandate of public enterprises will be extended to include the Ministry of Electricity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Honorable Frolic.
Now, good morning once again, Honorable Speaker. Now, I fully support the proposal from the Honorable Papo. If you look at the entities that's involved in public enterprises, the generation of electricity falls squarely within that specific oversight committee. So I propose and I second the proposal made by the Honorable Papo as well as the Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frolic. Honorable Dr.
Thank you, Speaker. Now, just from what Mr. Kaso had said about the location, where do we put it? Do we put it under the other economic cluster, which has got public enterprise, or do we leave it where it is presently?
If I may.
Mr. Kaso?
They are part of the economics cluster, so it can be left where it is under electricity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaso. Is that understood, Honorable Muroto?
Yes, Speaker. Thank you.
Okay. Then you may lower your hand so that I don't get confused. Then, honorable members, that is where we were with regards to matters arising. Are there any other matters arising which we're seeking clarity on?
Madam Speaker, the last one from my side is the study tour. House Chair Frolic is on the platform. I just want to indicate that the study tour decision was indeed implemented, but obviously House Chair Frolic would give an indication. The delegation must still finalize the matter, but House Chair Frolic's hand is up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frolic.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. Indeed, the study tour did take place. It was very successful. The draft report has now been circulated to all the members who were part of the study tour, and I will convene a meeting early next week so that the delegates who are part of that study tour can then process and adopt the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frolic. I hope that it will be as early as possible, Honorable Frolic, because we eagerly waiting for that report to be presented to us, so that some of the decisions need to be taken as quickly as possible, honorable members, so that we don't have a huge backlog next year. Some of the issues we need to finalize before we Parliament rises at the end of the year. Honorable Papo?
I must confirm that the draft has been circulated to us, and we are waiting for the report was produced very quickly. We're waiting for that meeting, and then it will come. We're well led. The decision was a very disciplined delegation. So
Point of order, Speaker. Point of order. The leader of the delegation is saying they are still going to meet. Let Comrade Papo not preempt the report, please.
On a lighter note.
I'm not sure if he's preempting the report because he's not giving us the contents of the report. I thought he was just making a comment.
On a lighter note.
On a lighter note. Okay.
He's excited about it.
Honorable members, are there any other matters before we proceed? None, honorable members. Then we proceed. Proceed, honorable members, to deal with the next item on the agenda. And the next item on the agenda is the amendment of the rule for party funding. Would you please take us through, Mr. Klaso?
Madam Speaker, I will be co-presenting this item with legal services. So with your permission, I will ask Mr. Prince to go first, just to give the legal framework, and then we will speak to the rule. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Hope, is that a legacy hand, or do you still want to comment? Okay, thank you. Honorable Michael Prince, Mr. Michael Prince, will you please lead the presentation?
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning, members. Good morning, colleagues. Speaker, we were asked as legal services to have a look at the legal framework regulating political party funding for parties represented in Parliament. And secondly, to provide recommendations on how to deal with a public protector's report relating to whether Parliament has failed and or duly delayed to put adequate control regulatory measures in place to ensure transparency, accountability, and sound management and expenditure of its finances. Speaker, in line with your earlier instruction, I will keep it very brief. It is quite a lengthy opinion, but for the sake of brevity, I'll only highlight the important parts of the opinion. In light of the Public Protector's Directive related to the regulation of funding of represented political parties, Speaker, we found that there was possible confusion between the funds envisaged by the Constitution in Section 57 and the additional source of funding in terms of Section 34 of the Financial Management of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act. So just as a background, the Constitution provides two types of funding regimes for political parties represented in Parliament and its members. And Parliament, in addition, provides an additional source of funding in terms of Section 34 of FMPLA. Now, the two sources of funding that the Constitution provides for is Section 57 funding, which is internal sources of funding provided by Parliament itself. And the second source of funding is Section 236 funding, which is provided by the IEC, which I will not go into detail with for the sake of this briefing, Chair, Speaker. Now, Section 57 funding must be provided for in terms of the rules and orders of Parliament. Parliament does not currently have any rules and orders that provide for funding of political parties and its leaders. The funding that Parliament currently provides to political parties and its leaders are provided in terms of a policy on political party funding. Now, Honourable Speaker, considering case law, neither the policy, our office found that neither the policy nor Section 34 of the Financial Management of Parliament Act gives effect to Section 57 of the Constitution, which provides that such funding must be provided in terms of the rules and orders of Parliament. We therefore made a recommendation in our opinion that the standing rules of the Assembly be amended to provide that the House must adopt as an order a policy regulating funding as envisaged in Section 57 of the Constitution. We further recommended that the updated policy that Parliament is currently utilising be adopted as an order of the House, as this would align Parliament's funding with Section 57 of the Constitution. Speaker, I'll leave it there for now. There is a lot of detail in the policy, in the opinion, but those are just the highlights of the opinion. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We will now ask the colleagues to place
Very
their
much.
rule.
Yes, Mr. Kaso, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll ask the colleagues to place the rule on the screen that we are proposing to this committee.
Yes.
That is the rule that the Assembly must, in accordance with Section 57 of the Constitution, provide for financial and administrative assistance to each party represented in the Assembly in proportion to its representation, as well as to independent candidates, to enable the party and its leader, as well as independent candidates, to perform their functions in the Assembly effectively and may review that policy whenever required. We thought that we should include independent candidates because that is a constitutional position currently, that we will have independent candidates. We know that there is a case before the court, but it will not change the principle of independent candidates. So we thought these rules must be forward-looking. So that is a rule that we are proposing for adoption by the Rules Committee. And obviously the current policy which we have will be updated. But by adoption of this rule, it is our view that that constitutional need will be satisfied, that we must have this rule in place. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Charmaine, Legal Services, she has anything to add, Charmaine, before Madam Speaker?
Yes. Thank you, and good morning to Speaker and the members. I don't have anything to add. I think it was covered well by my colleague, Mr. Prince, and by Mr. Kaso in respect of the rule and the process going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That is
mute. Somebody mute, please. Okay, and have your breakfast quietly. Yes, Mr. Kaso.
Madam Speaker, that is our presentation on the matter. We are proposing that this meeting adopts the rule, which will then go to the House. It's a technical matter. It's a technical intervention. Obviously, the policy will be updated and will be shared with the honourable members. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaso. Honourable members, Chief Whip of the Majority Party, I see your hand.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I'm really not sure whether we should be adopting this now, but the matter with independent candidates and all that is still in court. There is also pending consequential amendments when it comes to the electoral reforms amendment bill, whether we should be rushing to adopt this. If we don't, what are the implications if we don't adopt it now? If we wait until the processes are completed, what are the implications of that before I say I adopt or I don't? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chief Whip. Are there any other comments on the matter, honourable members? I think Mr. Kaso, yes.
Madam Speaker, I would advise, my response to Chief Whip would be that maybe as a way to deal with both issues. One, the need for compliance with the Constitution, because currently we are non-compliant with Section 57, but also the need to be cautious so that we don't move ahead of ourselves. We could remove independent candidates from that rule so that we deal with the current scenario. The subcommittee on the review of rules can always be directed to look at the whole rule infrastructure with a view to incorporating the issue of independent candidates once there is legal clarity on where the matter stands. So that would be my suggestion, ma'am. We do need to comply, and with the public protector, we had indicated that by end of September, the matter would have been finalized from our end. So we would suggest that we adopt, but with that amendment, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kaso. Honorable Frolick. So please take note, this proposal is that we adopt for purposes of compliance. However, we may want to exclude the independents for now, for reasons which were articulated by the Chief Whip earlier on, that the matter is in court. Honorable Frolick.
No, Chief Whip, I had the same concern as the Chief Whip around the inclusion of independent candidates currently. Because if you look at what the public protector said, it pertained particularly to the current situation. And I think Mr. Kaso has now given us the correct approach and wording so that we can comply with that finding of the public protector. And then we can come back at a later stage once the issue of independent candidates has been resolved. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frolick. Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I support that we exclude independent and adopt this draft with that amendment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable members. That's it, honorable members. That this matter will now be presented to the team. Mr. Kaso will then prepare. You want to comment, Honorable Kaso?
No, it was a legacy hand member. Oh, sorry.
Okay. That your team, Mr. Kaso, together with legal, will then prepare for this to be tabled to the House. And we all agree that for purposes of compliance, this has to be done because we had agreed that by September, it would have been a completed process. Now, what we are agreeing on is that we will not at this point consider the independent candidates until the matter is out of court. Honorable members, that is the decision. We then proceed, honorable members, to deal with matters to be reviewed to the subcommittee on the review of assembly rules.
Your permission, ma'am, may I?
Yes, Mr. Person.
Yes, ma'am. The following matters, honorable members, deal with executive undertakings, guidelines for petitions, and rule amendments in respect of money bills. Just to give context, in terms of our oversight and accountability model, there is a point there that says that there should be a committee on the matter of undertakings, but also there should be the practice of monitoring undertakings by members of the executive. These are commitments that would have been made by members of the executive in the House or in committees to say, by this time I will do this and that. We are therefore recommending that the matter be referred to the subcommittee. We are not necessarily committed to the idea of a committee being established, a new committee being established, but the subcommittee will deal with the processes and establish guidelines on how this matter should be, undertakings should be monitored and commitments by the executive. So that's the first part. The second one, the rules provide for petitions. We currently do have a petitions process. It's not as widely used by honorable members as it ought to be, but there is a rule on petitions, and we are therefore, and the rules do say that there should be guidelines developed on petitions. And we're asking that the subcommittee be empowered to develop these guidelines to present to the Rules Committee. We have, as the administration, developed the guidelines, but would like them to be considered in detail by the subcommittee before they serve before the Rules Committee. The third one, Madam Speaker and honorable members, relates to the money bills amendment procedure. We are empowered constitutionally to amend money bills, but we have observed that there is a need for clarity on certain aspects of this amendment, especially as it relates to consultation between committees, where a particular committee is of the view that a budget should be amended, and the need for that committee to confer with the other committee. That process is not regulated currently, and we believe that it should be regulated, and we're asking that the subcommittee be empowered to develop these rules for consideration by the Rules Committee. Again, we have put together some proposals for the subcommittee, but we don't wish to get into details on those at this point. So, Madam Speaker, we are asking that this committee gives a go-ahead for these 3 matters to serve before the subcommittee on the review of rules, for it to present a report to this committee at the appropriate time. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaso. Honorable members, those are the proposals. Money bills, monitoring of executive undertakings. Honorable members, are there any comments on those matters, or do we just agree? Honorable Muroto.
No, thank you, Chief Whip. I think it's the process that we always use, that these matters are debated first in the subcommittee and be brought to us as a proposal. We agree. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mamuroto. Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support that all those matters be referred accordingly to the subcommittee to process. Thank you very much.
Okay, so the review subcommittee will then deal with the matters, honorable members, and then will be submitted afterwards. Agreed, honorable members? If that is agreed to, we then proceed to, that was the last item, not unless there is a matter arise, any other matter which it's not an item I like, but if there are members who would like to raise a matter which is urgent, you may do so. There are no hands.
Madam Speaker, just on a process matter, we now have 10 members, which is a requirement for our quorum. 2 of those members are not members of the Rules Committee, but Rule 163 does allow for co-option of members, and therefore Honorable Papo and Honorable Koronov will be taken as co-opted, which means that we do have a quorum to agree to these matters. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. In other words, the rules, the decisions which we have taken at this meeting today do have a status, and that status is that they have been adopted. Agreed, honorable members? If it's agreed,
agreed.
Thank you very much. If it's agreed and there are no other matters, we then adjourn the meeting until next time. Thank you very much, honorable members. We've at least 10 to 11.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, honorable
Travel
members.
safe.
Thank you, my. Thank you. Thank you.